Good morning all. So we'll be continuing with the system modeling. So we have done the external perspective where we discussed about two diagrams, that is a context diagram and a process diagram. Now we will be starting with the next perspective, that is interaction perspective. And in the interaction perspective, we will be discussing about two diagrams, that is use case and sequence diagrams. So commonly we are going to prepare the interaction models here. So what does this help? Modeling user interaction is important as it helps to identify users' requirements. So interaction will help us to identify what all requirements need to be added in the system. Second, the system to system interaction highlights the communication problem that may arise. So why we are modeling this interaction? First of all, what are the requirements? Second, to identify the communication problems. Third, we also want to deliver certain performance and dependability issues like, right, the modeling component interaction help us understand if a proposed system structure is likely to deliver the required system performance and dependability. So it can be also checked through this. And we will be making use case diagram and sequence diagram for representing the interaction. Now, what is a use case model? The use case simply, you can say it means the function. In the function oriented approach, we call them as functions, while in object oriented approach, we call these functions as use cases. So earlier, these use cases were used for requirement elicitation. So you remember in SRS we make few diagrams. So this was one of the diagram that was prepared during the you can say preparation of SRS. Now, along with the requirement elicitation, it is also used as a you can say UML modeling language. So each use case represents a discrete task that involves external interaction with the system. Right? So use case diagram represents what? The use cases, that is the functionality, and the user or any external system that is going to use it. Let's take an example. I'll give you this. See, in the mental health care patient management system, there was a user, medical receptionist. So we will be identifying all the use cases that this medical receptionist can use. So any use case diagram consists of three things. First is an actor. Actor can be any user or it can be any external system. While these connecting lines, which can be directed also, and we will be having these use cases represented with this oval symbol. So use cases are nothing, simply they are the functionalities. So this is how like use case helps us. So we were discussing like, so use cases were like for requirement elicitation, now it is used for UML. They represent like the task which involves external interaction with the system. So it will be clear now. We have to show the interaction with the external system. That external system can be any external, you can say the user, or it can be any external systems. Actors in a use case may be people or other systems. Okay, fine. And it is represented diagrammatically, and it represents the overall, you can say the abstract view of the system. Let's assume one example here or a case study in the mental health care patient management system. So the scenario that we are going to model here is like a statement could be, make a use case diagram for transfer of data by a medical receptionist to a patient record system. Right? So this is the scenario. I'm again repeating it. In a mental health care patient management system, draw a use case diagram for transfer of data by a medical receptionist to a patient record system. So this has been modeled here. So from that statement, first we will identify what is the use case, that is a transfer data. Now who all are the actors? Actors, I said it can be a user, it can be any external system. So user is a medical receptionist here, while an external system is a patient record system. So remember patient record system in the context diagram, that was an external system that was used. So now I said these arrows can be directed arrows, right? So medical receptionist was transferring the data. So this arrow is going to point this side. While patient record system, the arrow will not be pointing towards this use case because this scenario or the statement says we have to transfer the data to the patient record system. So definitely it will be pointing towards this patient record system only. So this is one particular. So you can understand it from here. Use case diagram can be made for the entire system also, or it can be made for small scenarios as per applicability, right? So this is just a small scenario. Now a tabular description is given for each of the diagrams. So similarly, like here also, for a use case diagram, the actors are given, description, that is what is being done here, data, what is the data, patient's personal information and treatment summary, stimulus care, the command given by the medical receptionist to transfer the data, what is the response, the PRS is updated, and comment, that means the user must be an authentic user, he must have permissions to access the patient information. So these are the information which is prepared along with the diagram. The second scenario we have discussed. So the scenario is, draw a use case diagram to represent all the use cases of a medical receptionist. So for this statement, this is how, according to the case study, we have identified these 5 use cases here which are being used by a medical receptionist. A medical receptionist can register a patient, he can unregister a patient, view the patient information, transfer the data, and contact patient. So these are the 5 case studies according to the scenario provided to us. So this is another use case diagram. Now, what is a sequence diagram? Sequence diagram models the interaction between the systems or between the components of the systems, right? So let's see. Sequence diagram, again a part of a UML, are used to model the interaction between the actor and the objects within a system, right? So between the actor and the objects, and between the objects also, we'll see in the next slide. A sequence diagram shows the sequence of interaction that take place during a particular use case or use case instance, right? Use case, we are talking about, like for the same example, let's talk about this transferring of data. We will be making a sequence diagram for this. Sequence diagram means we will be showing the detailed set of interactions which are being taken up. We will be giving commands, requests, and then finally this will be achieved. So it is said here, we represent a particular use case, right? Or any instance of a use case, that is a small use case or in particular scenario. The objects and the actors involved are listed along the top of the diagram with a dotted line drawn vertically from these. Okay, interaction between the objects are indicated by the annotated arrows. Let's see here. Right. So this is the sequence diagram for view patient info, right, by a medical receptionist. Let's come up to the use case. We are going to model view patient info by a medical receptionist, correlated with here. So use case diagram just represented the abstract view. Okay, receptionist use this, but how it is being achieved, that is modeled using a sequence diagram, right? So first of all, you can say what are the notations used here. We will be making an actor and name it as medical receptionist according to the question. Then we will be identifying the, you can say what are these, class, another class, another class. As many classes are involved, we'll be making it in a rectangular. So patient info is a class with P as an instance of this class, right? Likewise, we have a mental health care patient management system database, and the instance created for this is D, and we have an authorization class and the instance created is AS. So First of all, we need to identify who all will be the actors here and what all classes are going to participate in this particular statement or the problem, right? Once you identify this, we are supposed to make a dotted line vertically. As given in the previous slide, we will be making a dotted line. So this represents the, you can say, the lifeline of each and every class or the actor involved. Dotted line. While at the same time you are seeing a rectangular bar here. This rectangular bar represents the time, you can say the timeline simply. The time for which this particular user or class is getting involved in the process. So you see that actor sends a request here. So his involvement starts here. But patient info class, the involvement doesn't start here. Once he receives the request, then its involvement starts. Once the request is forwarded, then this involvement of database class gets involved. So the dotted line is the lifeline, while this rectangular bar is a timeline, the time for which the particular user is getting involved here, right? So let's start with the process now. Now this medical receptionist sends a request to view the information of this patient, that is patient ID is being given here as an attribute, right? So view information is the command, while PID is the attribute that is being passed in the bracket. So we you can say request to patient info class that I want to view this information, and the patient ID is given. Now information is not present here. Information is present in the database. So further, the request will be forwarded to the database class that requesting a report, and in that report this information is required of PID, that is this patient, by UID is universal ID of this medical receptionist, right? So a report is required which must consist of this particular information of this patient, and it has to be viewed by this UID, universal ID of this user, right? So request has been forwarded to the database class. Now directly database cannot give the response back because not all the users are authorized to use this information, right? So what we'll do is we'll again send a request to an authorization class to check whether this user is authorized to view this information or not. If we found that he is authorized, then the access will be given to him. But if the person is not authorized, so an error message will state no access, right? So sending a request here to authorize whether this information can be viewed by this UID or not. Now, once it reaches here, it gives some response, but this is a dotted line, while this was a solid line. Requested was forwarded. So here any response comes back, but that response is not indicated, right? That is why we made a dotted line here, because authorization class can only authorize but the data is present in the database. So data can be only given to this user from this database. So some response came. Now there are two possibilities. Either this UID is an authorized user, right? So this is authorization, okay. Second alternative is the authorization phase. That means this user is not authorized to use this information, right? So whenever there are alternative solutions, we represent with this rectangular bar, and at the left top corner we write ALT, that is alternate. So we have multiple alternate solutions. In this case there are just two, but if there are more alternative solutions, we have to divide it into further. So a dotted line used to divide this alternative block into two subparts because it has just two alternative solutions. So the first block will write it in a square bracket which represents the condition authorization okay. So authorization, some response came to this database class. Now, since the authorization was okay, that means he was authorized to use the information, the patient info is given to this patient info class. That means the information of this patient from the database is, you can say, retrieved by this patient info, or it is sent here. While if the person is not authorized, that is authorization fails. So simply a error message will pop up, that is no access, no information will be given as in the previous case. So user can view the information by this patient info class. We are not giving the information back to the user. See the difference. We requested a report from database class and he sends a view information request to patient info. So viewing will be done here. It acts as a user interface. While the request of report was given here, authorization was given here, we got a response and the response is given back to this patient info class. So keep these notations in mind and then try to model a use sequence diagram, identifying the actors, identifying the classes, making a object for each or an instance. Draw these dotted lines vertically representing the lifeline, while this rectangular bar till it is involved. So it ends here. This starts here, it ends here. It starts here, its involvement ends here. While it starts here, involvement ends here. So these are the timeline. Take care of this. So you can easily make a use case diagram. Now second example. This is for transferring a data by a medical receptionist to the patient record system. So this is again for the one we have prepared the use case diagram, transferring of data by a medical receptionist to a PRS. Now the detailed interaction are represented here. So first of all, identify the actors. There are two actors here. One is a user, that is a medical receptionist, and another one is an external system, that is PRS, patient record system. Then three classes again are getting involved here: patient info, database class, and an authorization class. Now, how to model this? Draw the dotted line and all. First thing, whenever this receptionist wants to transfer the data, since it is an external system, there must be certain security mechanisms. So, we must have login credentials. That means you must be a registered user. So, we are not modeling that registration part. We are assuming that he is a registered user. So, directly he sends a login request to this PRS. You can write user ID and a password here if required, or it is assumed, okay fine, login me we are giving the credentials. Now some response comes back, right? So there can be two possibilities. Either the user is an authentic user or a registered user, he is able to log in. An alternative could be he is not a registered user, right? So he has to sign in. But we are assuming here कि he is an authentic user. He has a credential and he is able to log in here. Else, we have to make an alternative block for login, then alternative block, this will be there. So nested alternative blocks will be there. So sake of simplicity, we are assuming he is a registered user, an authentic user, and he gets login into the system. Response came back. Now, according to the case study, there are two possibilities to transfer the information to this PRS by medical receptionist. One case says we directly send the information, the complete information to this PRS. While second case says we prepare a summary and only that summary is updated here. We are not required to like you can say send the complete information. So two possibilities, either send the complete information or prepare a summary and then submit it to the or update it in the PRS. So we made an alternative block for this ALT. Condition represented, since we have two alternative solutions, so entire this rectangular block is divided into two subsections. This one is for send info and this is for sending the summary. So when we are supposed to send the complete information, so the request of update info is sent to patient info class, right? Further, the request is forwarded to this database class to update the PRS by this UID. That means this medical receptionist having UID wants to update the PRS, that is sent to this database class. Now database will check whether this UID is authorized or not to transfer the information. So the command is authorized for what? For transferring the information TF by this UID, whether this UID is authorized to transfer the information or not. Now some response came. He may be authorized, he might not be authorized. So again, one more alternative block is possible here, but we are assuming for the sake of simplicity that he is authorized, right? So we are not making a nested alt block here. So assuming he is authorized, so now from the database, response will come back to database, and from the database that information of this PID will be updated in the PRS. So you will not going to show the arrow from here to here. The authorization request came here and then we update. No, it was just an authorization. There was no information. Right? Information is present in the database class. So you get certain response to this database class, and from here we need to show this arrow and we have to give a command to update the information of this PID in this PRS. And once it is updated, update OK message will be given to again database class, and finally it is given to patient info class. So now he can view, okay fine, the message is updated. Again one more nested is possible, nested block. Update PID, maybe the message is lost in the communication, it might get corrupted, so there can be a fault possible here. So we are assuming it got correctly updated here. That is why we assume key update OK came. Else we can make maybe the updation fails. Could be one of the alternative block here, right? So simple update info, update the PRS by this UID, authorize this UID for transferring the information, and then update the information of this PID to this PRS and the message comes back. While the second case, if you are supposed to send the summary, so we'll say update summary, summarize, that means this UID can summarize the information. We check whether this UID can summarize or not to transfer it. So again a request is sent to this authorization. So there is a mistake in this diagram. There will be a rectangular block here. Just correct it, right? So authorization request sent here. Some response came. Now from this database class, the complete information of the patient is present in the database class. So one more class is here, summary. You can make an instance S here, right? So a request is sent to the summary class to prepare the summary of this particular patient PID, and that summary will be updated to this PRS. So you can make this summary class here, or you can make this summary class here also, and then you can make a dotted line and timeline can be represented here, right? So this is like how to make a diagram. It depends upon the designer. So simply update summary request, summarize by this, authorized or not, and then summary will be updated here. Assuming it got updated, so update OK. Message OK will always, response will always come back to patient info class. So this was the alternative block for sending either the complete information or the summary. Lastly, since you logged in into an external system, you have to log out. So once the complete process is over, he got the message OK, then he will send a logout request to PRS and he will be logged out. So this was a complete sequence diagram for transferring the information by a medical receptionist to this PRS system. Hope everything is clear. Still, if you have any problem, you can discuss it offline. Thank you for today.